In a forgotten temple buried beneath the golden sands of ancient Egypt, priests once performed a ritual so powerful it was said to open the gateway between worlds, the Eye of Horus. But what if this eye wasn't just a symbol of divine protection, but a biological reality within our own brains? Modern neuroscience has stumbled upon something extraordinary. When the human mind enters rare states of consciousness, the brain releases a surge of synchronized gamma waves, the very frequency associated with enlightenment, intuition, and mystical vision. Now imagine if there were a precise breathing pattern that could trigger this phenomenon at will. The ancients might have already known it. Called the Egyptian eye breath, this lost technique was rumored to awaken the third eye, the hidden center of perception and cosmic insight located deep within the brain. For centuries, it was dismissed as myth, buried under layers of metaphor and mysticism. Yet today, neuroscientists and spiritual practitioners alike are beginning to see the truth. This breath may be a bridge between the measurable and the mystical, a way to access higher awareness through nothing more than your own body and mind. We live in an age of constant stimulation, but dwindling awareness. Our attention, once a sacred flame of focus, now flickers between screens, notifications, and endless noise. The modern mind, bombarded by data and distraction, is rarely still long enough to hear its own deeper signals. Sleep feels shallow. Creativity feels forced. Intuition, that subtle whisper of inner knowing, has all but vanished beneath the static of modern life. We scroll, we breathe shallowly, and we wonder why clarity feels so far away. This is the hidden epidemic no one talks about, a crisis of consciousness. Humanity's greatest tool, the mind, has become fragmented. Our breath, which once anchored us to rhythm and presence, has become mechanical, automatic, disconnected from spirit. Ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians, believed that the breath was more than air. It was a carrier of life force, a direct link between body, mind, and the divine. By losing control of our breath, we lost control of our consciousness. But the solution has been waiting, hidden in plain sight. The same breath that sustains our biology can also reawaken our spiritual intelligence. The Egyptian eye breath isn't about escape. It's about return to the self, the silence, and the inner light that never stopped shining. Thousands of years ago, along the banks of the Nile, the Egyptian priesthood guarded teachings so sacred they were encoded in symbols rather than words. Among these was the Eye of Horus, an image that appeared everywhere, carved into temples, painted onto tombs, worn as amulets by pharaohs and mystics alike. Modern scholars saw it as a sign of protection, but hidden within its geometry was something astonishing. The eye's curves and proportions mirror the structure of the human brain, particularly the thalamus and pineal gland, the so-called seat of the soul. It was not just a symbol, it was a map. Within secret initiation chambers, initiates were taught that the eye represented not sight outward, but vision inward. Through specific breathing patterns and directed awareness, one could awaken the inner sun, the third eye, illuminating hidden dimensions of perception. The priests used rhythmic inhalations to draw in prana, or life force, and exhalations to focus it between the brows, activating subtle energies now described in yogic and Taoist systems. Over time, the knowledge fragmented. Empires fell, temples eroded, and sacred science became myth. Yet the Eye of Horus persisted, its meaning concealed in plain sight, waiting for a modern seeker to rediscover what the ancients already knew: that true awakening begins with breath, intention, and inner vision. In modern neuroscience, something remarkable has been discovered. A frequency of consciousness once thought to belong only to mystics and monks. Gamma brainwaves, oscillating at around 40 to 100 hertz, are now recognized as the signature of peak awareness. They appear when the brain integrates information across different regions, creating a unified field of perception. In laboratory studies, advanced meditators, Tibetan monks, yogis, and even some breathwork practitioners have been shown to produce enormous bursts of gamma activity, especially in the prefrontal cortex and temporal lobes. These are the same regions associated with insight, compassion, and transcendence. When the breath slows and deepens, something profound happens inside the brain. Oxygen levels rise, carbon dioxide decreases, and the balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems begins to shift. This balance regulates everything, from heartbeat to focus to emotional stability. Through breath control, the vagus nerve is stimulated, releasing neurotransmitters that calm the body and sharpen awareness. At the same time, rhythmic breathing influences electrical patterns across the cortex, allowing gamma synchronization to emerge naturally. Scientists studying the pineal gland, the mysterious, light-sensitive structure at the brain's center, have found it secretes melatonin and possibly DMT-like compounds under certain conditions. These states mirror ancient descriptions of inner illumination. When modern imaging meets ancient breathwork, the two stories converge. The Eye of Horus and the Gamma Burst may describe the same inner phenomenon: consciousness awakening to itself. Science may describe brainwaves, oxygen exchange, and neural networks, but spirituality gives these same processes meaning. The ancient Egyptians did not speak of neurons or neurotransmitters. They spoke of light, the radiant consciousness that animates all life. In their temples, the act of breathing was not just physiological, it was devotional. Each inhale was a drawing in of divine essence, and each exhale a release of illusion. The breath was prayer in motion. When modern neuroscience measures gamma synchronization, it is observing what mystics have long called illumination. In mystical traditions across cultures, Egyptian, Hindu, Taoist, and even Christian, the third eye, or inner eye, symbolizes the merging of intellect and spirit. When the mind and breath become one rhythm, awareness transcends duality. The Egyptian eye breath, therefore, is not merely about oxygen or focus. It is about remembering that consciousness itself is sacred. Spiritual texts describe this awakening as the moment when the eye becomes single and the body is filled with light. Gamma activity, in scientific terms, is the brain's way of harmonizing chaos into order. Spiritually, it is the return to oneness. The Eye of Horus represents this unity. Science explains the mechanism. Spirituality reveals the purpose. Together, they form a complete understanding of human evolution, awakening from fragmentation into coherence. Before attempting the Egyptian eye breath, one must prepare both the body and the mind. This is not an ordinary breathing exercise. It is a sacred act of alignment. Think of it as preparing a temple, your own inner temple, for a higher vibration of consciousness to enter. The environment you create matters. Find a space that feels calm and undisturbed, somewhere you can sit upright without strain. Dim lighting or soft natural light is ideal, as it allows the gaze to relax. Silence the external world. Phones off, distractions away, and give yourself permission to be fully present. Your posture should be dignified, but relaxed. Sit with the spine straight, shoulders open, and chin slightly tucked. Imagine a golden thread pulling gently upward from the crown of your head, aligning your vertebrae. Rest your hands on your thighs or knees, palms facing upward to symbolize receptivity. Close your eyes halfway or keep them softly focused on a single point before you, a candle flame, or simply the space between your brows. Before beginning the breath itself, take a moment to set your intention. Ask quietly for clarity, awakening, or healing, whatever your heart seeks. The mind follows the direction of intent. When you breathe with purpose, energy moves with precision. This preparation creates the energetic container necessary for the I breath to activate safely and effectively. Begin seated in your prepared position, spine straight and gaze soft. Bring your awareness to the space between your eyebrows, the center often called the third eye. This point, known in ancient Egypt as the Eye of Horus, serves as the focal lens of the entire technique. Let your attention settle there gently, without strain. Now inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 5, drawing the air deep into the belly first, then the chest, then the upper ribs, as if filling a vessel from bottom to top. Hold the breath for a count of 3, not with tension, but with reverence, feeling energy gather and spiral in that point between your brows. Next, exhale just as slowly through the nose for a count of 5, letting all air release smoothly. As you do, imagine a beam of golden light radiating from the third eye outward, dissolving mental fog and fatigue. The pattern is simple. Inhale 5, hold 3, exhale 5. Continue this rhythm for several minutes. As your breathing deepens, begin to direct your inner gaze slightly upward, behind the forehead, as though looking into a vast, luminous space. After several rounds, you may sense gentle pulsations or a warmth spreading across the forehead and crown. These are signs that energy, the sekhem, as the Egyptians called it, is awakening. Allow it to expand naturally, without forcing anything. Maintain slow, rhythmic breathing, visualizing the Eye of Horus glowing brighter with each cycle, opening like a sunrise within the mind. The breath becomes the key, and your awareness the lock it turns. As the Egyptian eye breath deepens, subtle sensations begin to unfold within the body, signs that the inner current of life is awakening. At first, you may feel a gentle warmth spreading across your forehead, as though a soft light were glowing behind the skin. Then, a tingling vibration may ripple upward along the spine, converging near the crown of the head. This is not imagination. It is the nervous system responding to rhythmic coherence. Each controlled inhale and exhale acts like a wave, harmonizing brain and body into a single pulse of awareness. You may notice a delicate pressure at the center of your brow or between the eyes. Ancient initiates describe this as the serpent rising, the energy of consciousness moving through the channel that connects earth to sky. Modern practitioners experience it as clarity, a stillness so profound that thought seems to pause. The body feels lighter, yet more rooted. The breath becomes almost invisible, effortless. In this space, inner imagery may appear spontaneously. Colors, patterns, or radiant light. These visions are natural side effects of increased gamma synchronization and heightened oxygenation of the brain. The boundaries of self begin to dissolve, replaced by a sense of vastness, unity, and quiet euphoria. The eye opens not through force, but through surrender. In that surrender, perception expands beyond the five senses, touching something infinite yet deeply intimate, the living consciousness behind all creation. What feels mystical from the inside is measurable from the outside. When the Egyptian eye breath activates the third eye, what actually occurs is a symphony of biological precision. As the breath slows and deepens, oxygen saturation rises, and the balance between carbon dioxide and blood pH stabilizes. This optimized ratio increases cerebral blood flow, delivering more nutrients and oxygen to the prefrontal cortex and pineal region. Electroencephalogram studies reveal that during such deep, rhythmic breathing, brain activity begins to synchronize, especially in the gamma frequency range, between 40 and 100 Hz. Gamma waves are associated with peak cognitive function, intuition, and integration, the mind's ability to hold multiple streams of data in a single coherent experience. In ancient terms, this coherence would be called illumination. The pineal gland, rich in piezoelectric crystals, reacts subtly to changes in blood flow and cranial pressure. Some researchers believe that rhythmic breathing, combined with the upward gaze and focused intent, may stimulate this gland, leading to sensations of light or expansion behind the forehead. This could explain why so many practitioners report flashes of radiance, internal colors, or geometric visions. Simultaneously, vagus nerve activation lowers cortisol and releases acetylcholine, producing calm focus. Heart rate variability increases, a physiological marker of emotional resilience. In other words, the eye breath doesn't just calm the mind, it rewires it toward harmony. Ancient wisdom and modern science, when seen together, reveal that awakening is not supernatural at all. It is neurobiological transcendence, transformation through the Egyptian eye. Breath unfolds gradually but powerfully. In the beginning, practitioners often notice an immediate sense of clarity and calm, as though mental noise suddenly fades, leaving behind a quiet awareness. With continued practice, this clarity deepens into something more profound. Perception sharpens, emotions stabilize, and the mind becomes luminous rather than heavy. Patterns that once triggered anxiety lose their power. Focus becomes effortless. The inner dialogue softens into silence. After several weeks, the shift extends beyond meditation sessions into daily life. Colors appear brighter, sounds more harmonious, and intuitive insights arise spontaneously. This is not fantasy, but the result of brainwave coherence. As gamma rhythms strengthen, they link sensory regions and prefrontal areas into a unified network. The brain literally learns to see more of reality at once. Spiritually, this mirrors the ancient Egyptian description of the eye-opening ceremony, in which the initiate perceives truth unobstructed by illusion. Physically, breathing patterns improve lung capacity and strengthen the diaphragm. Emotionally, they release tension stored in the chest and solar plexus, centers tied to fear and self-doubt. Practitioners report an elevated mood, creative flow, and an unshakable sense of connection to something greater. This transformation does not come from external power, but from inner coherence. The eye breath teaches that enlightenment is not escape. It is embodiment, the full awakening of awareness within the human form. Over time, this practice becomes less a ritual and more a way of being, a living alignment of science, spirit, and self. When the Egyptian eye breath reached the modern world, its quiet power began changing lives. Consider Nadia, a neuroscientist who had studied consciousness but never truly experienced it. After practicing the eye breath for 3 weeks, she reported seeing intricate patterns of light behind her eyelids, followed by an overwhelming sense of unity. Her EEG readings, taken out of curiosity, showed an unusual burst of gamma activity. It was as if science suddenly became personal, she said. I wasn't measuring consciousness. I was inside it. Then there was Malik, a musician from Cairo. He had always felt disconnected from his roots, but through the breath, he rediscovered something ancient in himself. When I practice, he said, I feel like the Nile flows through me. The rhythm of the breath becomes music. His creativity soared. Melodies came effortlessly, as if channeled from a deeper intelligence. A third account came from Sophia, a trauma therapist. She integrated the eye breath into her work with clients struggling with anxiety. The results were astonishing. Heart rates stabilized faster, panic subsided, and patients described a warmth in their chest and forehead. Sophia realized she wasn't just teaching a relaxation tool. She was guiding reconnection with the body's innate wisdom. These stories echo across cultures and disciplines. Whether scientist, artist, or healer, each found the same truth. The eye breath doesn't give something new. It reveals what was always there. It opens not just the third eye, but the eyes of the heart. The true purpose of the Egyptian eye breath is not to chase mystical experiences, but to live from a state of awakened coherence. After the light and the stillness, after the warmth and the visions, comes integration, the art of carrying the temple within you. Integration means breathing consciously in everyday life, during work, conversation, creation, and rest. It means using the breath as an anchor whenever the mind drifts into stress or distraction. The same rhythm that opened the eye in meditation can calm you in a meeting, center you before sleep, or awaken creativity in moments of doubt. Ancient initiates were never meant to remain in isolation. They were trained to embody wisdom in the marketplace, the home, and the fields. Likewise, modern practitioners are called not to escape the world, but to illuminate it. By weaving awareness into breath, every act becomes sacred. Eating, walking, speaking, even silence. The body becomes a vessel of balance, the mind a lens for clarity, and the breath the bridge between them. Consistency is the secret. Practicing a few minutes each morning and evening is enough to keep the neural pathways active and the gamma coherence alive. Over time, this presence becomes effortless, a natural rhythm of seeing with the inner eye open while moving through the outer world. The eye of Horus, once carved into stone, now lives through you, a symbol turned into living science, a myth realized through breath. The Egyptian eye breath is more than a technique. It is an awakening waiting within you. Through the simple rhythm of inhale, hold, and exhale, you have the power to align your biology with your divinity. The ancients left behind the symbol of the eye of Horus as a reminder that true vision does not depend on sight but on awareness. Today, neuroscience confirms what mystics have always known. Coherence is power. When your brain waves synchronize, when your breath becomes prayer, you remember who you truly are, a being of light, awareness, and creation. But knowledge without practice fades. If this message has stirred something inside you, act on it. Find a quiet space tonight. Sit, breathe, and awaken the eye. Let the rhythm guide you inward until you feel the stillness that all the noise of the world could never touch. Record your experiences. share them, and inspire others to reclaim the ancient technology of consciousness, the breath. If this journey resonated with you, subscribe, like, and share this message so that more seekers can rediscover the wisdom that science now proves and the ancients once lived. Remember, the breath is the bridge, and the eye is the key. Awaken it, and you awaken yourself.